Hello friends, guess what? I've got another Hoover to sell. So in this video, let's check it out. Well, as you can see, it is a Hoover Junior Deluxe. Deluxe, aka the Starlight. So this particular range of cleaners, this is an odd one. I will say this is one of those strange situations where Hoover took an existing vacuum cleaner, gave it a name change and some new colours and called it something else. It's all really very strange. So originally, this particular cleaner was called the Hoover Starlight, and it was launched, I think, late 1974, possibly early 75, as the model U2002, and there were two versions of that cleaner. There was the blue one and the red one. I say the blue one and the red one. Basically, it was just a different colour bag door. You had a blue bag door or a red bag door. That sounds kind of like a song. It's weird. But they were the same machine, U2002. And then, bizarrely, in late 77, early 78, they changed Starlight into Junior Deluxe. I have terrible trouble saying that name. And actually, from this point onwards, this machine is going to be known as the JDL, okay? It's the JDL, because I can say that. Deluxe, I have terrible trouble saying. So, JDL was launched in, I think late 77, early 78. And there were two versions of that as well. There was this incredibly 70s sort of yellow gold machine, and also its sister cleaner, which was a much more muted, sort of like a off-white body and hood, and then a green bag door. And again, this is just so strange. I don't know why Hoover did that. I mean, there were some internal changes to the cleaner, and what I'm going to do is do a separate video that compares JDL with the earlier Starlight. We'll have a Starlight here, and I've also got a Starlight that's sort of half taken apart so we can see inside it. I think it'll be quite interesting to have a look at it, because they are quite interesting cleaners. What Hoover did with them is interesting, different, shall we say. But the focus of this video is this particular JDL from 1980. And it's interesting that it's from 1980, because that, I believe, was the last year that these machines were produced. And JDL got a different model number to Starlight. So while Starlight was U2002, the JDL machines were U2068. So not only did Hoover change the name of them, they changed the model number as well. It's all very strange. I don't know why they did it. This is essentially a cost-reduced version of Starlight. And I won't go into that now. In the next video, when we compare them, that's when I'll start to do a deeper dive into what's actually inside these cleaners and how they differ from their earlier Starlight versions. So this particular cleaner is going to be for sale shortly. This is one of the last remaining machines that I got from my large vac haul from Ritchie. And initially I thought, oh, I don't know whether to do that one or not. They can be notoriously hard to get right. Again, I'm not going to go into that here, but there are various reasons why that happens. I will say though, this one has come out really well. I'm very pleased with how it looks. The body is in really nice shape, actually. There are markings to it. There's markings to the hood. You won't be able to see them on camera because they're sort of quite small, and they're sort of like chip marks over the hood here. But actually, you know, to be perfectly honest with you, this cleaner's 40 years old. It was never intended that it would last 40 years. I mean, my God, 40 minutes was the usual runtime for a Starlight or a JDL prior to it going wrong. They were not the most robust cleaners ever made. But this one is looking pretty good. I will say there's no sort of chipping or cracking to the paint on the handle. That's really nice. The hood is in really good shape, actually. The furniture guard is good. I will say there's some wear here, oddly, to the furniture guard. It's on this rear corner, which is quite strange. Never seen that before. Very odd. A couple of things to point out to it. This is incredibly common. The lower cord hook is missing on this cleaner. And most of the time they are missing now. It's very hard to find these cleaners with this lower cord hook in place. I've talked previously about how the turbo powers would lose their lower cord hooks for a pastime. Starlight / JDL were even worse. I think the plastic was thinner on these on this particular machine's lower cord hook, and it just broke all the time. It was, yeah, it wasn't the best. So that's missing. It does have its upper cord hook, as you can see here. I put some new flex on it as well. It didn't have any flex when it came, so I popped some new flex on. This just hangs nicely on the back. It's lovely. It's great. And yeah, so what else have we got here? Well, there's not a huge amount to talk about really on this cleaner. I'm just going to spin it around so you can see it, and you can see that it is in really nice shape. I'll just bring it around again. So let's just open the bag door so you can have a look inside. There we go. It's, you know, it's all nice and reasonable. I fitted a Turbo Power 2 bag to this particular machine. I do have some original Starlight bags. I would advise you not to use those, even if you can find them in 2020. Even if you can find them, don't use them, because they're always incredibly thin paper. They're a single wall, thin paper bag, not well made at all. Cheap paper, cheap cardboard on the flange that goes onto the bag throat. Just don't bother. These Turbo 2 bags are dual layer. They give much better filtration and airflow. So don't ever use the original bags. I do have some upstairs. I think I've got like a sealed bag of them. God knows how that happened. I'll never use them now. I'll never ever use them. They will sit there forever until I get a machine or a time where I can't get Turbo 1 or Turbo 2 bags, and I'll be forced to use them on something. But yeah, don't bother. Don't bother. So yeah, I mean, as an overview, this is looking pretty good. Now, the internal work I've done to this, that's the most important thing. These cleaners are notorious for breaking their fans. And again, I will go into that when we do the comparison video so I can actually show you. The fan on this particular machine is absolutely fine. I have balanced it basically, so where the vanes are sort of wearing on their trailing edge, on the opposite side I've sort of filed them down somewhat to ensure that the fan is balanced. Many a time when these cleaners came in for service work where people would say they weren't working properly, the majority of the time, the majority of the description of the fault was that the machine was noisy. And the reason the machine was noisy was because a massive chunk of metal or plastic had been smashed off the fan. So you had uneven vanes. And of course, this machine, I think this is 375 watts? 350 watts. This is 350 watts. And the Hoover Junior, which was like the sort of brother / sister lower range machine that we all know and love, was 250, I believe. I think it was 250. So this is 100 watts more than the Hoover Junior. So the motor is spinning faster, but it uses the same bearings, almost the same bearings, as the 250 watt Hoover Junior. So there's a lot of pressure on those bearings. The front bearing where the fan is here, that's a standard Hoover Junior ball race bearing that you will find in virtually every single Hoover Junior motor. The rear bearing down here where the pulley is, That's a sleeve bearing. It's very similar to the rear bearing you would find in a Hoover Junior, but of course in Starlight and JDL it has a pass-through. So the shaft of the armature passes through said bearing and the pulley is screwed onto the end, and that of course comes down here and drives the brush roll. Now what happens is when the fan goes, people don't stop using it, they just carry on because for some strange reason they think, oh, it's fine, I'll just carry on using it. And the poor machine is shaking itself to death. And numerous times you would find that they had completely destroyed the top bearing. That ball race, that's a tough old ball race. That bearing is tough. But under that kind of stress, they would tend to flex and wear much faster. And I have seen them in the past where the bearing has just exploded. It's just gone kaboom. Also as well, down this end, you don't have this in the original Junior, but the tension of the belt is pulling against one section of the rear bearing here, and that is a sleeve bearing. I think it's brass, so there's a lot of tension on that bearing, and you would find most of the time that it was this bearing that had worn out, just because the machine's being used. The belt's pulling on it and it's wearing through the brass on that bearing. But this machine, and the reason I've told you all that, is to say this machine is absolutely fine. Those bearings are lovely. The bottom bearing has been greased, the top bearing has been oiled, the motor was completely removed from it, which is an unbelievable faff. Again, I'll go into this more when I do the comparison video, but getting the motor out of these machines is, it drives you to drink. It's so awful. It's almost as bad as the convertible machines. They are worse. They are absolutely worse. I personally, I've worked on a lot of vacuum cleaners. The convertible cleaners are the worst ones when you need to take the motor out. Starlight, JDL is in second place. They are awful. But yeah, as I say, we'll go through all that when we do the comparison video, because I've got like a red Starlight that donated some parts to this particular cleaner. So we'll check it out. But to conclude this waffly talking session, this machine is in really good shape. They're getting incredibly hard to find now. I have not seen a good JDL / Starlight for sale for a long time. If you buy one just randomly off eBay, or you buy one randomly off Facebook Marketplace or somewhere else, the chances are the machine will need work. And as I've said, working on them is very difficult. Finding parts for them now is, I would say, it's impossible. It is impossible. You can't find anything for them now. I think even finding the bags is difficult. You can fit random belts to the machine. I think you can probably only find parts for the brush roll, maybe a bearing or two if you're lucky. But anything else for these cleaners, no. You're going to be absolutely stuffed. If it needs anything, yeah, you're going to be in trouble. But I think what we'll do now is we'll take it into the lounge. We'll give it a run. You can see how it sounds. You can see how it works on the carpet. I'm personally really pleased with this one. As I say, I was going to keep it, but I already have one in my collection. I haven't looked at it for years. I think it probably needs some work too, but one is enough. This will drive your stress levels through the roof. So if you aren't really good at cleaning, if you aren't really good at repairing vacuum cleaners, my advice to you would be steer clear of this one. This will drive you insane. So let's go. Let's take it into the lounge. That's it from me. Thank you ever so much for watching. As usual, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe as well. It really helps me out and I appreciate it massively. And if you've got any comments or stories about Starlight or JDL, please leave them under the video. Always good to hear from you. So Until next time, take care, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.